Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say Kal Halal Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakaha Kwadash. That's all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles that labored in this truth before me and taught me this truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Hey, this is going to be a quick video, man. I just want to talk about, that slothful demon and that lazy demon, right? And it jump on all of us, man. You just gotta make sure that we're staying diligent in all that we do, right? Just so we can magnify the Lord, man. We don't want to be seen as lazy, as dirty, not diligent. Those aren't characteristics you want to be associated with the ministry, right? With Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, Yahweh is a God of production. You see, He's perfect in all His works, right? We should be striving to be just like Him, right? Especially when we get the human example is Yahweh Shai, man. We should be following after Him, man. He's the template of what we should be doing, man. He wasn't slothful, right? He had to work with His hands. He had a job, So let's start here in Proverbs, the 12th chapter. It says, "The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute," right? And we were let's actually get this word for slothful, right? Because we're slothful in the serving of the Most High. We weren't doing what we were supposed to be doing, right? So now we're under tribute. Now we're you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Y'all are dominated and controlled. We don't have our own sovereignty, right? It's because we're slothful, right? This the word in the Hebrew is ramaya, right? Laxness, slackness, slacking, deceit, treachery, right? Look at right, but that's pretty much the point. You get right here, idle, being idle, man. You know what I'm saying? Not being on your job, just having too much time on your hand. That's a problem. You can't just have all this time, all the time in the world, but you're not putting it in the right position, right? And you're not putting your energy in the right direction, right? You're using all your free time for scrolling up and down social media. That's really not helping you. You should be doing this work. You should be studying, right? You should be donating some of your time to the Most High every single day, right? We'll jump down to 27. It says, the slothful man roasteth not which he took in hunting, but the substance of the diligent man is precious. Let's read it in NLT. It says, lazy people don't even cook the game they catch, but the diligent make use of everything they find, right? And that's that slothful spirit, man. You done took some meat out to cook for dinner, and you didn't let it, you just leave it on the counter and let it rot, man. That's what it's like when you get this truth and you don't go out and put this work in, man. There's plenty of the harvest is plenty, right? Let's get that. Right, because the harvest is plenteous, man, but the labors are few. Where is it? Let me see. Right, so this is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 9, and verse 37. It says, "Then saith he unto the disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of harvest, that he will send forth laborers into the harvest," right? So, hey, there's plenty of work to be done, man. There's no excuse, right? You shouldn't be lax, man. You shouldn't be lackadaisical with this truth, bro. Once you get the truth, you're supposed to go out and put this work in, right? You should be doing everything you can to increase the spirit, right? Let's see what we got. And this goes beyond just the ministry, man. When you go to work, you should put in as much work as you can. I ain't telling you to break your back, but it should look like you putting in work. You should always be looking busy, right? You shouldn't be one of these people on your phone scrolling in TikTok. No, your mind should be sharp, right? You should be completely focused on whatever you got to do during that day, whatever the task may be. You should be completely locked in, lasered in, and focused, right? Because you get in the habit of doing things the right way, right? Being diligent with things, right? This is the book of Romans chapter 12 And verse 9 says, let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, and honor preferring one another. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. Right? So, hey, man, when you serve the Lord, you've been called into this ministry. You should do it with honor, man. You should be joyful that you get to serve the Lord. Right? That you were even brought into this ministry, called to the truth. That you have understanding, man. Let's see what this word, business, right? Spade, right?
Strong's G 4710. Spude.
Earnest.
Spude.
Diligence, right? So you're supposed to be, you gotta be diligent in your business, man. Right? Because let's get Proverbs 29th chapter. 29, I believe it's 22. No. Let me see. Right. 22 and 29. It says, seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings and not stand before a mean man, right? He's not going to stand before average men. That's what putting in this work, doing this work while you have breath in your lungs, right? That'll allow you to be in the kingdom, ruling alongside Yahweh Shai, man. You know what I mean? If it be the Lord's will. That's what we're all laboring for, to have rulership in the kingdom, not in this life, man. Right? It's the book of Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 6. It says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest, right? So we supposed to learn from the animals. The ant don't have a boss, but still he saves his money, right? He goes up, he stores for the winter. That's what we should be doing. On a carnal sense, yeah, we shouldn't be splurging on everything we can and being compulsive in our living habits. But it's also talking about spiritually, man. We're supposed to be stacking up that spiritual paper, the spiritual coins, adding good works on top of good works, right? So that when it comes time for the harvest, you know what I mean, you're sitting up there with a storage house of fruit. You know what I mean? Yahweh Shai looking at you like, hey, you wise and you diligent servant, man. You know what I mean? You get that crown of life. Right, verse 9 says, how long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? And when wilt thou arise out of sleep? Out of thy sleep, right? So, hey, that's our people right now, man. All of us had to wake up. And we have people that'll come to the camp. They'll learn a little bit, maybe pop up here and there, but they're not making no changes in their life, man. You got to wake up out of that sleep, because eventually it's going to be a time, you know what I mean, where it's too late to wake up. The Most High didn't close the doors on you. You get what I'm saying? All right, so, hey, it's imperative. Let's actually get that. All right. Right, so Romans, the 13th chapter. Romans 13 and 11. It says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe, right? And we right here at the door, man. We right here at the finish line, bro. It's time to get up out of sleep, bro. You know? And even those that are in the truth, right? Because verse 10 is going to go into it, right? Verse 10, yet a little sleep and a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man, right? So, hey, even those that's in the truth that know the Israelites, hey, it's time to do more. It's time to do more, man. You should always be wanting to do more. You should have that competitive mindset that you compete against yourself, right? So that you can get that crown, man. You got to treat this thing like an athlete. You know, man, athlete not going to, the best athletes not going to rest because they're not going to rest in the middle of the playoff series, man. You know what I mean? It's time for you to go even harder, Right? Let's get this in 1 Thessalonians 4:11. Right? And it reads, this 1 Thessalonians 4, chapter 4 and verse 11. And that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your hands as we commanded you. Let's get it in the NLT. It says, make your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we instructed you before. Right? Hey, we should be solely focused on the ministry. Like, things outside of life, they're important, family, you got a job, you might have hobbies and stuff like that. But the most important thing is studying, right? Living a quiet life and having a job. Just go have some way to feed yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be trying to be these people trying to live strictly off the people's donations, live off tithes, man. That's not what, that's getting the ministry blamed, bro. You know what I'm saying? You should be going out and working just like your fellow brothers work. Paul worked. Yahushua had a job. He was a carpenter, right? The apostle Peter, he's a fisherman. These our forefathers had jobs, man. They worked with their hands. They was not here trying to be influencers, being podcasters. Nah, man, they had jobs. And what did they do? They kept the ministry at the forefront. Everything was about the ministry, right? Because we're not here to try to be Israelite celebrities and millionaires and billionaires. If that comes to you, that's fine. But that's not the whole goal, man. The whole goal is to glorify the Most High God, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, right? So let's get this in Hebrews 6 chapter, starting at verse 10. It says, for the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and the labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister, right? The Most High, he's not going to forget your labor that you did in his name. And that's why the name is important. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, don't give his glory and honor to another. Verse 11, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Right? And reading these scriptures is like watching film for an athlete, man. Like you reading about Abraham, because look at verse 13. It says, for when the Most High made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by his name, swore by himself, right? That's talking about Yahweh. He made a covenant with Abraham that can't be broken because he swore by his name. But you see, when you reading these scriptures, you're reading film, you're watching film. You're looking at how Abraham moved, how Jacob moved, how Isaac moved, right? And you're adding that to your life, man. And all those men were fervent. They were intentional about getting to making it to the promised land. They were intentional about winning that eternal life, man. Even though it's written, you can't do anything to earn it. We don't know if we're sealed. So we got to do the work of someone that would have been sealed, right? We got to sign, cry for the abominations. We got to do this work. We got to study. We got to study to show ourselves approved, man. Let's get this in Colossians. Colossians, the 3rd chapter. Right? But yeah, we should be studying our forefathers, the righteous men, the men of faith that did great works. And we should endeavor to be putting in the same type of works, man. You know what I mean? So we can be counted with the righteous, right? This is the book of Colossians chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, if ye then be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things which are above, where Hamashiach sitteth on the right hand of the Most High. Right? We have to have a heavenly mindset, an immortal mindset, right? Realizing that the condition we're in right now is temporary. You get what I'm saying? Verse 2 says, set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. Right? And a lot of people fall off because they got their mind set on things in the earth. Right? They think about trying to get rich. They're trying to scheme up to get more money. They all they care about is work. All they care about is women. All they care about is, it's good to care about your family, but that can't be your main focus. The Most High's got to come first because he's the one that gave you that family. Right? You were bought with a price. Your life is not yours, man. Especially if you're called into this ministry. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand what they're involved in. They think it's just just lamb dinners and getting together with brothers, having a drink, fellowshipping. Yeah, that's part of it. But it's a lot bigger than that, man. No, if you take your hand off the plow, you basically dead. You just signed the death wish, man. You just, you know what I mean, signed your own death certificate, right? Yeah, because it tells you any man that take his hand off the plow is not worthy for the kingdom. So when you step into this truth, it's imperative that you're putting in work, especially if you cross the line. Now you a teacher, you're on them street corners, right? Really, you know what I mean, really in it about this thing. No, it's imperative that your mind stays right and you got your mind set on the right thing. Because, you know what I mean, if you get off, you get off track, it's a slippery slope. Slippery slope. It says, "For ye are dead, and your life and your life is hid with Hamashiach, Hamashiach in the Most High. When Hamashiach, who is our life, shall appear, then shall we see. Then shall ye also glory. Then shall you also appear with him in glory." Right. So the main focus is not what's going on in this life, man. It's being glorified in the next.